encountered something you couldn't explain?
Ghosts, were they strangers or were they family?
Cryptids, alien encounters,
Strange animal encounters, child spirits.
whatever your experience, we want to hear about it.
Email your story to wltkdbParanormalRoom@gmail.com for your chance to share your story on the show. Again, that's wltkdbParanormalRoom@gmail.com.
We're waiting for your story.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Room and welcome to my brand new co-host, Logan Jacobson. Thank you for
How's it
being
going,
here
everybody?
tonight. All right. This is kind of a fun concept. If you watch my show right before this, because I do my shows back to back on Mondays, and my producer is kind enough to put up with me and do that with me. So thank you for that. I have had so many people say like, oh, nobody's interested when I want to tell my story or whatever. And what I have found out is the exact opposite, because if I go on any of my platforms and I post something about, do you have a ghost story? Do you have a paranormal story? Have you ever had a weird experience? That thread goes on for days while people are still adding to it. So I completely believe that we all just want to be able to share those stories. We really all just want to be able to say, you know what, this weird thing happened to me and I just got to tell somebody. And what we're finding out, I think it's the more that we share our stories, the more that there are more stories to share. So this is actually our first show. This is our premiere show. And I know I'm kind of not letting Logan say much right now, but I'm sort of jumping in because it was my brainchild. And I'm like, hey, want to do a show with me? He's like, sure. What are we doing? So
yeah, that's pretty much how it happened.
Yeah, pretty much. So I am just grateful that Logan has chosen to join me here. So my premise is I want to give everyone a format to share your story, but I want to do it in a way that's hopefully a little bit organized. I don't know. We'll see. Facebook user, sorry, I can't see your name, but good evening and welcome. Glad you're here. So what we do, this format for the show, just to let everyone know up front, is that we put out a topic relating to paranormal activity. Okay. So this week's topic was paranormal experiences on the job. And we normally take the top 2 or 3. Diane, who was just on my last show, just popped in. Hi, Diane. So we had 3 entries, and considering we hadn't broadcasted anything before, I think 3 entries is pretty good. So they have all been given a link. I don't know if they're going to come in or not. They were just invited and they can join us as they go. I would also like to open that up to the chat. If you've ever had a weird experience on the job, whether it was when you were in high school, whether it's your current job, somewhere in between, doesn't matter. If you've ever had a weird experience on the job, feel free to put it in the chat and we might just share the link in there for you. So, Logan, what do you got?
Yes. In terms of what?
Anything. Have you ever had a weird experience on a job, like a paranormal?
Many times, yes, but most of the time it involved the employer, not anything supernatural. I did have one when I was working a sample job. I was basically the person that you see in a grocery store who just stands there like, hey, would you like a sample of this? I'm cooking today, apparently. And it was the end of the day. We were doing the dishes, and this could have just been a plumbing issue, but like the whole room felt like it was going to ice over suddenly. And this was July.
Wow.
And the water just like started cutting off, and then like it didn't even happen, everything just snapped back.
Oh yeah, love it when that happens, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it was nice to cool off for a bit. I'll say that.
I'm sure. Hi, Tammy. Welcome. Yeah, the guests from my last show are now the chat room in this show, and I love you guys for that. Thank you, ladies. That is so
Excellent.
awesome. Yeah, I know it. I mean, I've had a lot of weird jobs. So for me, paranormal experiences on the job, I mean, restaurants, A lot of restaurants have weird stuff going on in them, and I don't know why, but they do. You know, the flickering lights and the just I don't know. It's weird. Like I don't even know how to explain some of it, but I have. I remember I worked at a place in Appleton for about 3 years when I was just out of high school. When I was in college, the place was Badger Charcoal House. It doesn't exist anymore. I don't even think the building exists anymore. But it was really interesting because I just kept like seeing things. You know how you see things out of the corner of your eyes, and it took me a while to figure out. I think that we are in a multidimensional situation here. I feel like I'm looking into another dimension and they're looking back at me and we're trying to figure out how to work around each other. But every once in a while we would walk through each other and then it was just weird. Like you get that weird chill, you know? I don't know if you've ever had that. I think you have. Logan.
I absolutely have.
Yeah. I thought you had. Yeah. Let me see. Let's see. That link is the one to bring the backstage here. Okay, cool. So again, I have sent the link to 3 people. I don't know if they're going to show up, but I can pull up. Let me see. So we had someone named Erin who wrote in, and she said, so I would work on a weekend by myself, and the building was only partially lit because I was the only one there. That's already creepy.
Yeah.
So I was coming back from break down this partially lit hallway, feeling a little eerie, being alone, and in my ear I hear a very breathy male voice say my name. Erin. Creepy shiver went through my whole body. And then she said, okay, same place of employment. It was during the day, and a coworker and I were sitting at a table doing our work while the rest of the team went on break. It was just him and I on the floor. Both of us had our heads down working away when we heard a female voice say my name, Erin. We both looked around. There's no one there. I say to him, did you just say my name? He said, no. I said, did you just hear someone say my name? He said, yes. We both stand up and look around, but there was nobody there. Creepy. Thanks for listening to my story, Erin.
Yeah, it's time to go at that point.
I think so.
And we're done.
And we're done. Yeah, I totally hear that. Another place that I worked that was kind of a similar situation was I worked at the school for the visually handicapped, a state school. And boy, it was a residential school. And there just seemed to be a lot of like whispers in the night, you know, when everyone was asleep. And I worked the overnights. I was like the house mother or whatever for overnight shift. And, you know, I knew everyone else was asleep. I knew it. Everybody was asleep. I checked on them. And then I kept hearing footsteps and I kept hearing whispers and some voices. And maybe like down the hall, something would drop, you know, like in the snack room or whatever. I would hear something just drop. I get up and I go look, and of course I see nothing. Now, had I been in there when it dropped, maybe I would have seen something. That would have been kind of fun, but you know, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, we have a couple more stories here. Let me just paranormal in the workplace. Let's get back here. Okay.
Once again, if anyone wants to chime in on the comments on the stream with their own stories, we'd be glad to read those out too. Maybe even have you on with us if you're comfortable being on camera.
Or you can turn your camera on and just tell us about it.
Well, that is kind of what I said. Like, if you're comfortable being on camera, they could come on.
I meant turn the camera off. Sorry.
Oh, off.
Yeah.
That would make more sense.
That would make more sense. I just said it backwards. All right. All right. So Nikki had sent in some stories. She's sorry she can't make it tonight, but she did share some stories. Let's see. I have a few stories up my sleeve of things that have happened to me. On your last episode of Be the Change, you had mentioned you were doing a paranormal job show. So here we are. Let's see. She said that she honestly thinks that paranormal things happen more often than we realize in public places. There's just so much happening around us. It's sometimes hard to notice the subtleties. And, I would agree with that. Sometimes we
Absolutely.
just don't notice it. However, what happened to me when I worked at Target was not so subtle. I worked at the Target in West Seattle for about 3 years. One day, about midday during a holiday rush, someone had spilled popcorn at the front of the door. It was always brand to keep a clean and tidy appearance, so as lead, I knew this detail was part of my job. I went and grabbed the small vacuum we kept stashed in a tiny room off the sales floor and vacuumed up the popcorn. Once done, I shut it off, leaned it up against an unused check stand, and began directing the traffic up at the front lanes. I walked past it about an hour later to talk to one of my teammates, and it just decided to turn on all by itself. She was so stunned. So, yeah, an unplugged vacuum turning on, that's a little interesting.
I experience things like that very frequently, actually, like interferences with electrical devices, ranging from suddenly turning on to a radio changing stations to my computer telling me like, oh, I don't know, is there a screen? I'm going to show you a message just to see if there's a screen.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That is just crazy.
Well, I mean, it makes...
Go ahead.
It does make sense with the theory of ghosts being... ghosts in particular being the remnants of electrical imprints on the fabric of our reality.
Right. Yeah, that does make sense. Let's see. Nikki actually shared a couple more stories, so I'm just going to go in here and share her stories. She's sorry she can't make it tonight, but we're just going to do this. The team break room upstairs was an entire wall lined with lockers that employees can use to stash their stuff for their shift. You're able to set your own PIN code to unlock it and everything. Okay, so that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
One evening, while I was eating dinner during a closing shift, despite being alone, I heard a familiar beeping of someone punching in a PIN code, heard the lock unlock, and saw the door to one of the lockers slowly swing open of its own accord. There was nothing in the locker. All right. Well, that's a fun break time. What do you think?
Yeah. That's another time to go moment.
All right. Oh, Mary just shared one in the chat. Thanks for being with us, Mary. I was using the bathroom. The second I stopped going to the bathroom, urinating, the paper towel machine on the other side of the room started shooting out paper towels at me. It was an electric machine. Wow.
See what I mean?
You're not even standing in front of it. Yeah.
That's pretty wild. I'd be a bit weirded out too.
Yeah. But I actually have a question. I mean, since we're talking about public restrooms, does anyone else have trouble getting the water to work? Like the automatic water things?
The motion sensor ones, yes. Like you suddenly turn into a stage magician.
Yeah, that's right. Like, ooh, come on. Give me something here. My hands are full of soap.
Honestly, worse than those are the motion sensor paper towel things.
Okay. They don't read you?
Well, normally it takes more than just that one little sheet that it gives you to dry my hands off, but it can tell if you don't take the sheet, and it won't spit out another one until you take the sheet.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just a tiny irritants.
I know. It's a little crazy. Let's see. Mary also said another time as I reached for a light switch to turn it off, it went off by itself. I have some of that tattoo sometimes. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Nikki had one more story here. Another night I was there with the manager of HR. They had closing shifts, just like the sales floor management. The rest of the team had gone home for the night, and we were writing our closing shift emails to the opening shift managers. The computers we're using, the computers we were using, were right inside the team member break room. Everything had been shut off except for the lights in our office area. As we were finishing up, the break room TV turned on by itself. My HR manager saw this and was like, "Okay, Nikki, it's time to go. You done? I'm done. Let's go." She was thoroughly creeped out. Yeah. That would have done it for me.
Tammy Jean says, I think it's funny when I expect to see a motion sensor and it is not. Absolutely. I much prefer having the control over the water flow and the paper towel dispensing.
Right. Bring back the cranks, man. Bring back the
yes,
cranks.
Where's the cranks? That was satisfying.
Yeah, that's funny. I think what she's saying too is that like you expect it because so many places have it, but this one doesn't happen to have a sensor on it.
Yeah.
That was funny. I've done that too, and I'm standing there like waving my hands, and I was literally in a restaurant. I think I was at the airport, and I was like waving my hands, and some lady just reaches over and turns the water. I felt so stupid.
Sorry about that.
That's crazy. So, Anthony, if you're listening, I sent you a link in Messenger. I don't know if you got it, but I sent you a link. If you want to jump on the show, you're welcome to. Let's see, because he sent in an email, but he sent it in while I was doing my last show. So, do you want to read that one? Because I've been doing a lot of talking.
I actually don't have access to it. For some reason, my computer's been arguing with me about that Google account.
Okay. This is what I can tell you.
If you want to copy and... Sorry.
Mercury
if you want to copy...
Let's see.
If you want me to read it, you can just like copy, paste it, and send it to me.
Can I just forward it to you?
Probably.
Here you go. It's sent. Good. Give my voice a break. Diane
and now I've got to wait for it to come in.
Okay. Diane says, I believe ghosts are beings whose energy is still active in the space, and turning on and off appliances are energy surges and the way that they are communicating at the moment. Oh, I completely agree.
That is very close to the explanation I said earlier. When I was talking about the electrical imprinting onto the fabric of space-time. All right, I've got the email. Good evening, Spirit Mom. I hope I can send this in time for your radio show. As I mentioned before, you have my full permission to read these out loud, for I am unable to call in this evening. So from time to time, we have a little noise maker at the warehouse that I work at. These are two instances of note. Firstly, when I was sitting at a desk doing computer work, a random drill cased in plastic fell off the shelf directly in front of me. The drill was about 20 steps away, but I was the only one in the warehouse at the time. No overhead doors were open, and there was no AC blowing around either. Secondly, when an old coworker of mine we're talking about ghosts. I don't know why I'm having such trouble with English right now.
That's okay, I am too. It's all right.
And things of a spiritual nature. We heard something crinkle overhead. Inside the warehouse is a set of stairs that leads to a mystery room, which I've never been into. And along the railing was some plastic wrap. That was the origin of the sound. My old coworker got freaked out, but I knew that it was the resident brownie by the name of Lawrence who made the noise, letting us know that he was listening. I like that.
I like it too.
On many occasions, I visited the shop that I take care of at the Universal Bazaar. But one sunny day a few months ago, I got a rather odd visitor. He came into the shop, and there was no way that I couldn't help this customer. He was covered in black and purple swirling mist, his face covered with a heavy cloak that was made of fur. He wore animal skins and carried a sword at his left hip. It sounds like a lot of the people I go to Ren Fair with.
It does.
totally a strong Viking feel to him. I greeted him, as did every customer, and he wanted me to fight him. I don't remember the details, but I do remember that I lost, and he gave me a pat on the back for putting up a good fight. I had a lot to learn, he said. He then revealed his face to me. Long brown hair, scruffy beard, eyes that bore into your soul. After they stopped glowing a ghostly white, he presented a presence that commands your attention. He was really nice after things had calmed down, and since I made a good impression on him, he was okay with me asking for help on my husband's upcoming Viking film shoot. Okay.
Yeah. It's on the job. Yeah, I know.
There's definitely a paranormal happening, even if he was just a dude in a costume.
Yeah. Yeah, the Universal Bazaar is a place that we travel to in astral travel classes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and he has a shop at the Universal Bazaar.
Gotcha.
So it is kind of like Ren Fair, but it's like out in the universe somewhere. It's on a different planet.
Okay.
So that's kind of fun. And I forgot to do it before, but if you guys in the intro to this show saw or heard a little giggle after child spirits, I just want to give a shout out to my niece Anna. She's 9 years old, and she was such a trooper in recording this with us. She did such a great job. And yeah, so she that was her little giggle, and I just wanted to give her some kudos online because she really had a lot of fun, and her parents were there too. And Mom said, I'm going to go supervise, and Dad said, I'm not going to pretend to supervise. I'm just going to go watch. So we did that when we were up north at a cabin. We recorded the beginning to the show, and it was a lot of fun. We took some time when we wrote it while we were up there, and then we recorded it. And yeah, it was really great. So let's see. I got something going on over here. Oh, Todd's back. Good. Hey, Todd, I think it's a good time to take a commercial break. What do you think?
This is WLTK-DB Talk Radio.
Come see our new station shop for some amazing top quality merchandise. There is something for everyone, like blankets, electronics, clothing, and much more. Head on over to WLTK-DB.com and click Shop to show your support by sporting our logo. The WLTK-DB Station Shop at WLTK-DB.com. Paranormal talk is our business, and business is good. Want to see your video here? Sponsor WLTK-DB Talk Radio and watch us make that happen. With your paid sponsorship of $80, you receive a professional produced audio, video, and banner placement on our station. Not only does your sponsorship air during our live shows, but also replayed on our podcast and heard by hundreds of like-minded people. Visit WLTKDB.com to get started and find out just how hard we work to get you noticed.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It is 28 minutes past the hour. I am here with my co-host Logan Jacobson, and you are in the Paranormal Room. Thanks for joining us here tonight. This is our first broadcast and our premiere show, and we didn't have a lot of material to start with, but I have some other stories that I can share from other people, if that's okay with everyone. What do you think, Logan? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, we may as well.
All right. So my mom went to college after we all left home. She went back to school, and she was doing an internship at a residential retreat treatment center for addictions, and it was in an old nursing home somewhere in Wisconsin. I don't remember where. And she like me worked the night shift, and she said that every morning or every night at the same time, it's about 2:15 in the morning, something like that. She would hear above her when everybody was asleep, squeaky wheels like from a mop bucket and footsteps every morning at the same time in the middle of the night. So she just, and then, she said the first few times she went up and looked and didn't see anything going. And then after that, she just went, oh, all right, janitor's working. What are you going to do? It happens every day, we do have a list of things topics. So,
yes.
All right. Do you have your list with you?
I
Logan?
don't.
Okay. So I am just thinking, we are going to put out the topic for next week. All right. And what we want you to do is to email it into us if you have had a paranormal experience. And I want to also expand on what paranormal experience means. There's our email address, WLTK-DBParanormalRoom@gmail.com. That's where you're going to send your stories. We don't just talk about ghosts here. We also included cryptids, alien encounters, paranormal pets, things on vacations, weird stuff that happens around the holidays. If you've ever had it, another topic that we brought up was weird psychic readings, because sometimes those get really weird. So we just, I don't know. I just listed off a whole bunch of that, encounters with child spirits. Why don't you pick the topic for next week, Logan?
I really want to do cryptids because it's a subject I'm very interested in, but I kind of want to wait and gather up some hype for that.
Okay, so second choice?
Second choice, let's go animal spirits. If you have, say, an encounter with a pet that had passed recently, or you move into a new place and there's a ghost cat that likes to take your stuff, we've all been there. Go ahead and share that story at the email provided.
Yep. Great. So we are going to be looking forward to your animal stories, and we're hoping to get a whole bunch of them, animal spirit stories. And, it's not just pets. It could be animals that you've seen in the wild. It could be encounters that you've had with strange beings, which kind of falls under cryptids. But, sometimes you don't know if it's an actual physical thing or if it's a spirit thing. So, try to figure that out. So next week we are going to be showing or presenting the weird animal spirit encounters. So looking forward to that. Could be a pet, could be a wild animal, it could be somebody else's animal. It could be all kinds of fun things. So, and I know, we're in Wisconsin, farm all kinds of weird animal experiences and weird spirit animal experiences. So that is what we are going to be looking for next week. Again, if you want to email in your story for a chance to be on the show with us, the email address is WLTK-DBParanormalRoom.com. Oh, at gmail.com. Sorry. Messed up. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, everybody, we are actually going to close down here a little bit early because we are sitting here talking about nothing at this point. So don't waste your time.
One quick thing.
Yes.
If you work in the medical field, I know that there's a lot of strange things that happen in hospitals. Obviously, you don't have to name names. We don't want or need to know names. But I've heard a lot of strange stories from medical professionals from around the times of the full moon.
Oh, awesome. What do the fairy fall under?
I'd say cryptids.
I'd say cryptids. Yeah. Yeah, I would say cryptids. Hospitals and medical facilities. I'm adding that to our list. But next week, it's animal spirits.
All right.
Yes.
Send in your stories.
We're looking forward to reading your stories. Ooh, Mary's got pictures. Ooh, cool. So write us, Mary. Send along those pictures. We'll send you a link. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in the Paranormal Room. This has been a lot of fun, and it's going to just even get more fun as we continue.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Oh, hey, Logan.
Yes.
Tell us about your YouTube channel.
Yes. If you like laughing and you like laughing at games and people being bad at them, you should check out my YouTube channel, Turtle Island Gaming at YouTube.com. We've just started making virtual reality content as well, so that's been a lot of fun. Even if you don't follow gaming content, maybe you know someone who does, go ahead and toss my channel link over to them. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you next week in the Paranormal Room.
Bye.
Bye.